do to,
Correct.
you know.
I personally could not see any issues.
It's really to do with the, not really to do with us, it's all to do with
My personal thing would be we have no comment, but others may have a different view.
well, until,
I've no problem. Swimming should be encouraged.
is it swimming for horses?
Yeah.
Is it an equine pool?
No, it's an indoor swimming pool.
I know, but is it an equine swimming
No,
pool?
no.
Is there inside?
No.
They didn't say so. did they? No.
There'll be horses around there.
Oh, they're fantastic, they're
So can I would formally propose that we have no comment to make. No observations. Okay, thank you. 41, this is the one.
52 Brent Street.
For ages.
Yeah.
You've got a code.
No, I couldn't find this. I looked at it and looked at it, I couldn't find it on my...
Mr Chairman, this,
Yeah, I know that.
fellow councillors, this is next door to Caroline's house. You know, Caroline's is semi-detached, and it's next door to them, and they are seeking just to put a single-storey ground floor extension on with like a canopied roof like to it. I personally don't see, in fact you can see it there with the square.
Sorry, trying to make it bigger and doing it possible.
You can see the square towards the top, which is the roof light on the ground floor extension. I personally feel that it's a property improvements and that we should support it.
Do we know if there have been any comments from neighbours?
No, there's nothing.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
And the obvious candidate would have been Caroline. So
Yeah.
No, I agree.
I would
Yes,
support
that's
Colin. So can I have a show of hands on supporting or not? Thank you.
Supporting unanimous
Yep.
on the grounds of improvement to property.
David can come back.
Yeah. Can you ask? Thank you.
Is that what we're saying?
Jubilee 42, as you pointed out, was already passed on the
Yes,
1st of
it's been
February.
passed, yes, I saw that.
And 4-3.
Yes.
4-3 has to pass as
4-3
well.
is gone as well.
43, yes. Yes.
Which is quite interesting. All I would say is that 0043 applicant, is the same as the applicant for the next one.
001.
Tamworth's house is up for sale.
It was sold for these days, and then it came off the block market the next one.
And the guy that lived there is the one going to Tableland.
He helps,
Yes.
on the strength of what we decided tonight.
Yes. But it's already been decided, Peter.
Which is Tableland?
Tableland is 00043, which was the election of a single-storey rear extension, and that got passed by the committee yesterday.
Yes.
So it's happened.
Okay. Well, I've had a look at 00001, and they are merely seeking to fence off an area to the rear of the house, and it has been there is a letter of support from the neighbour saying that they support this, and
All the land behind Tamrisk and the next house,
It's all Tamarisk land.
it's all Tamrisk land.
And
And
it's
so
all
I
on the
suspect
table.
he wanted to sacrifice a little bit of land to give Tamrisk a slightly bigger garden. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And I could see no real issues. So I would propose that we support that.
Yes. And doing
On
some
the grounds of
improvements, property
Just
improvements.
improvement. Yeah.
Amenity, whatever it is, a garden.
Now we're on to 00002, which is the say, I've been to their bungalow, and I recognise the issues they are raising.
Yeah, you see, it's right at the back in
Yeah,
red.
it's huge.
It dominates.
It dominates.
The lady and gentleman that came were, I think,
Is
that
there.
one.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
And when you sit in their conservatory and look out, you have a lovely view. You have the occasional.
You are in total of you.
Well, the two next door are people like invalids and being looked after all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just in the wrong location.
I think it is, I think.
It dominates
Mm.
the two properties. It can be located elsewhere. As you can see, the land that they own is bordered by.
One wonders why they didn't put it there in the first place.
Oh, they could
Because
move it down the
this-
way. Maybe.
Now this is where I live, there, and that, if they moved it there, the ground rises. That's the flat.
That's the flat bit, I'm quite certain.
That's why they want to put it there, I guess. Because this here is rising up,
Yeah.
and that's, well, that's woodland there.
Yes.
So
Well, when I saw the plans, I thought it was really quite unacceptable, and certainly I accept points made in, I forgot his name, his letter.
David's letter was very,
Yeah,
very
I
thoughtful.
think
yeah.
that the siting is quite inappropriate for the next door neighbours, and you don't know at this moment how they may or may not develop it, which of course is not a planning consideration. But if you have an outdoor arena and you're going to spend some money, well, you want to make use of it. So it'll be probably quite well used. All right, they've said they wouldn't put up lights, well, that we'd object to that. But I mean, from the amenity point of view, those two houses, I think it is unacceptable.
I would say almost that our objections would mirror what David said.
I agree with you. One other point, that surface would be non-porous, presumably.
If it's a menage, it would have to be,
Oh, we haven't
be
got
It
self-draining.
would have to be,
Yes.
would it?
Yes.
I was just thinking of, you know, it's pretty low land there, and
Yeah, you'd have to.
where would the water run off to? But you say it's porous.
You've got to be fairly careful with horse managers, and you have to, if it's going to be done properly, it has to be built properly on the correct
Right.
foundations. So I don't think that is a problem.
How would they access it?
Exactly. Well,
Through their house.
From their garden.
Yeah, another exit onto Brent
It's all
Street.
part of the property. It's just an L shape.
it would be through there, look.
Yeah.
They've got access there. But, not
No,
good.
it's actually-
So we're objecting to on the basis of poor location.
Impact on character of the landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next one then.
Impact on
Two,
visual,
two near.
Visual amenity.
visual.
Yeah.
Effect on character.
I think you could tick every box.
And certain loss of privacy.
Overlooking
Lots of associates and too close to the boundary line.
visual domination,
Yeah.
whatever.
And the point that he made was that is potentially going to be a commercial business,
Yes.
and I suspect that the usage is currently just for agricultural
We can't
purposes.
preempt that though.
No,
You can't say anything about that because you just
No, no.
have it table land, the extension of their property.
But I mean, you've got, you know, material consideration, residential amenity, landscape impact, highway considerations because of access, because they're obviously going to have more vehicles going in there if they're going to have horses coming.
And too close to
And
the
the horses are already
boundary
in
line.
there.
Don't far too close to the boundary.
So I think everything on the list, I think, can apply. Something like that. 0003, which is a multi-purpose agricultural building on land to 44 Brent Street. This is adjacent, if I remember, to Bob's.
Yeah, it is.
Haven't we had this application in before?
We've approved the shed in the same place before.
Yeah.
But not a
Some time ago,
multi-purpose.
wasn't it?
I think this one's slightly bigger.
A tad. I think
Is that-
that's the expression, is a tad bigger.
I don't know. I would say it's a lot different to last time.
Is it not? I thought it was smaller than that.
I don't know.
What's it for?
Just
Just
storage
agricultural
and
building.
because they've got sheep
Oh,
and wants to store their hay and tractor.
You've got, there's a list
That's what it
actually.
says in the, yeah.
Yes, it's, well, but they put it all down.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a letter from the Pollies who own the house next door to them down the drive, has
There's
there?
nothing.
No, it
Nothing
just
there.
hasn't.
And nothing from
They've
the
got
films.
Polish.
No, there's nothing.
Oh,
No,
no.
Yes, but it's,
I don't
No,
think
that's-
it's-
Forest one. Yeah, she did,
I mean, I think, as David rightly reminded us, we did support the shed.
Mm.
And I think this is just taking it to a more...
Yeah.
We went through the college, are they still
yeah,
there?
David Polly still owns it.
He said
does.
that's the son.
that's a
Oh,
sign.
right.
It's on the
Doris
outer,
and
Sarah.
in the graveyard.
Sorry,
Yeah, that's what I
David?
thought.
That's the
Yeah.
son of Doris.
David
and
Polly,
Bill.
that's right.
Yeah.
He lives in Berrow Road, I think.
It's Oak Tree Place. Oak Tree Place.
Mr. Chairman, I absolutely support this.
I would agree.
Can I just speak a moment?
Yep.
Wessex Water did have a comment, although it won't make any difference probably, but I'll tell you now. Reference to public sewer. It may be affected by the works. that they're carrying out.
Just
So
maybe, yeah.
maybe that is a comment, obviously, not them.
So is that a house, the other box we can see there, is that a house?
That's
Which one?
Which?
to the top left, Peter.
No,
I think
not the
it's
cross,
not
not
the
the
cross.
box section, this other one, I mean the,
That
Oh,
one
yeah,
at the
that's-
front.
David Polly's?
I don't.
No.
Mm. At the bottom.
right, that's a house.
Yeah.
So that's the,
High Barnes here, David Polly's there. And
Right.
there's the track
Yeah.
which goes down.
So that building is quite, is near enough, close enough to the houses we just passed, or we denied, because of the menage, and that's not even a building. We just said that was too close to the property.
Yeah, the issue with the horses is the fact that they would be going along the perimeter.
Oh, so they're going to build that, and they're not going to drive a tractor into it or drive.
Well, they have got,
Driving there anyway.
they've got one anyway. They've got a shed there anyway,
You
which
want
we
to have
approved.
one
Never seen any problem.
for their animals and
Well, we
stuff?
did support, we did not support them.
Fine, thank you.
No, I think
So we can either make no observations or, as Colin has said,
I'll make
support.
no observation.
I would support.
I would support that.
Support it.
Can I show of hands, please, on supporting? So that's a majority.
Support majority. On the grounds of?
There's another one,
There's another
yeah,
one,
there's
yeah.
the other one, yeah, Malcolm.
Well, on the grounds, obviously it's an agricultural building, and it's,
No, number 4.
what is, it's, you know, obviously, it's,
Good agriculture,
It's
to
to
support good
just-
agriculture
Yes.
practice.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
it is.
fence good.
Do the
Support
opposite
to
to school.
agriculture.
yeah.
What on that town?
Do the
I mean,
opposite
we've
to
got
school.
some, yes,
It's
some
just
shade.
disabled.
Yeah.
The guy that's leasing it, that's why it has to be a change of,
Disabled access to the road.
it's a doctor
I think
something.
everybody's
You
got it,
know-
haven't they?
If you look at the school,
I just assumed it was Tim, you know, Tim the shepherd.
Yeah.
towards the A38, it's very near
Right.
school.
Moving on to 00004.
Oh, yes.
One of the reasons why it's important to get the
Yes.
supporting reasons right is because if we don't give a valid supporting argument, then they can actually just dismiss it as actually having not really responded. So unless we give them, unless we give the case officer a reason, a good reason why we've supported something,
Yes,
they won't accept it as a response.
right, okay, so,
So, for example, if we just say, I guess if we just say something like, it just looks better,
Mm.
they might come back and say, well, why does it look better?
Yeah.
You know, should have a bigger chimney or a smaller chimney or whatever.
yeah,
So 00004, I think, oh yeah, please. It's the location, I think, which is the key one on that.
So almost up at the school.
First on the left.
Oh, yeah, there is. Right, location. That's where it is.
So that's the school side of Brent Street as opposed
On
to...
the way from the school.
Yeah.
Lots of Manor Ride, isn't
Is that where Janine used to
Yeah.
live?
That's the place.
Where?
Oh, yes,
Jenny.
that's
Well,
it. Oh,
Jenny.
Sorry, not
Location.
Yeah, Walmers.
Warmers, yes,
Rising
Left hand
Jones.
hanging in the wheelchair.
yes.
I mean, basically, the whole thing is be done to support their disabled living.
Yes.
And I would say that I would personally support it
Mm.
on the
Yeah,
grounds.
I think I mean, he moved from a very large house, didn't he, up the road? And obviously they're going to just flatten the garden, aren't
I
they?
don't think there's anything that's controversial
And
about
the
it.
existing garage will be the one who's
It's
travelling
obviously modifications that are necessary.
off
Can we
the front
support, I mean, I
garden.
know it's not a planning consent or issue rather, but surely the obvious thing is we support it on the grounds of providing disabled
Well,
access.
it is an amenity
Yeah, it's just an amenity.
for
Improved amenity for disabled
Yeah.
occupants.
disabled
I think
Yeah.
owner.
That's good.
Improved amenity for disabled occupants.
I
Yes,
think that makes
How does that
sense.
sound?
that's better.
Another one came on, I don't know whether you noticed, but it's not on the agenda, so we can't talk about it, but it is likely that we will be overtaken. There was another planning thing.
Oh,
came
is
on. Yeah.
What comes today, is it?
I can't remember if it was today, but I saw it was to take down a tree
Oh, yeah, I saw that up to
at
the valley, old manor.
Manor
Yeah,
and take it right down.
Weeping
And
willow.
this is a TPO tree, and they want to take it right down to the round.
At the old man or the
Yes.
man?
The old one.
the old
The
man.
old
The old
manor,
one.
the old
Yes.
manor, and then take out the root and then replant, because according to Dave Baker, the tree's rotten, but we're not considering it, so, but the chances are, the way it's going, we won't consider it, because they seem to, if it comes in that quick, we don't get a chance to comment, do we?
Sometimes
Unless Owen speaks to them.
it depends.
But it's
Yeah,
on, it
preempt.
is online.
But
it's
basically,
online.
if a planning application comes in, I look at the number of days that we've got to respond.
Mm.
If it's within a week or so of our meeting and they haven't got a committee planned,
Mm.
then I'll often go back to the case officer and say, is it okay if we notify you the following day after our next meeting? And 9 times out of 10 they're happy with that. The only time it can be a problem, I suppose, if it's a contentious application where the planning meeting in Sedgemoor would be at an earlier time than our date of our meeting. But if we do that, then that's the one we have to have a second meeting on, if we have that situation.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen very often, though, to be honest. So,
But just a heads up, it is a tree, and it's,
Yeah, but I saw that.
Well, it's bad news if you've got one in the garden, because it seeks water.
Oh, that one.
Way down your
You've
property.
been out in the rain. Yeah, I think so. We were the last one, isn't it?
Was that last one?
it is, yeah. You, got pneumonia, right?
Is it raining?
yes,
It's raining.
It's
Oh,
precipitating.
it's always near it.
You should hear it on the roof.
Better phone the weather to get me a coat.
Why, you walked it?
But I've got to walk to the car.
Oh, right. Oh, I haven't brought an umbrella. You have to
Right, Bob,
run
You
for
can
it.
see me.
would you like to do your thing, please? In which order you want to do it, council,
Yeah.
district?
I'll keep it fairly short because obviously we've had a lot of planning and stuff. In terms of the district, there was an executive meeting down at Sedgemoor today at which they have endorsed the amended local plan that's come back from the inspector. That will now go to the full council in February for fully signing off, but that looks to be making now progress. One of the things that was mentioned today is the fact that the target for house building in Sedgemoor is going up to 644 houses per annum, up from 505. Had we not got an up-to-date local plan, and had they not done all the background work to justify those numbers, we were challenged by a number of the house builders who felt that we should be building more. And also, the government have done some standard calculations for councils as to what they think councils should be doing. For Sedgemoor, their figure was 750 per annum, which would have been 50% more than we're currently doing. So the fact that we've got justification, we can hold to the 644, but I think it would be fair to say that as the years go on, those numbers are not going to be likely to be falling. Also, the executive signed off the draft budget, which will be going to full council to be decided, which is looking at probably a £5 per annum increase on the precept. but that will be confirmed as and when it goes to full council. So until that's decided, there will be no firm budget. On the Sedgemoor front, but slightly linked back to the parish, you'll remember we had raised an issue of dog mess, particularly down Bodies Lane. I did raise it with the dog wardens, and they have said they will come out and have a look and try and catch people. They've also given me a supply of these for the village. So I'll have a word with a couple of the landowners down there and ask them if they're prepared to put them up there. But if there are other areas in the village that members know that they need to put these, please feel free to take them
Would you be
and
kind
get
enough
them stuck up.
to give one to Kim?
Yes.
I certainly have one, because they did outside my
Okay.
house.
She's very knowledgeable of the subject
Thank
of the library.
Right.
Together with the two ladies
Everyone
from
knows
Manor
the
Ride.
council.
Okay.
Let's have a couple.
Yeah. So hopefully that will help. And again, the dog wardens are going to come out and have a look. In terms of county, a couple of things just to report. You'll remember last year, or the year before last, county had an inspection on Ofsted, which was not good, it was poor. A year ago we got them to come back, they reassessed and said that we were improving. They've just come back and done another assessment. The initial feedback is positive. We won't know for a few weeks as to what the actual result will be, but the feeling we're getting is that they're saying we're moving towards good, but there's still more ground to make up. So we're heading in at least the right direction on that front. On the money front, you remember we mentioned that the government had found some extra money at the end of the year to help with highways, both pothole repairs and projects. That's worked out at just under 10 million for the county, and there are a number of projects that they are coming forward with across the whole of the county, including further works down at Huntworth, Ashwick, Glastonbury, Frome, some in Bridgewater. So there is this spending around the county, and also there's money going into just general pothole work, and also some of that money, I think I reported last time, has gone to keeping the dumpy bags of salt and grit being done in the rural areas for this year. There is a review that's going to take place in May, June, as to what impact this year's cutback on the gritting has had on the routes were cut from, I think, 21 down to 16. They're going to review what impact that has had on those other 5 routes, and that will be reviewed in next year's budget as to whether that is a continued saving or whether it's got to be put back in, but it will be based on the feedback we get from what's happened this year. Happy to take any other questions on the council stuff.
Speaker?
This business here, I read in the paper today, there's a guy in Weston fined £4,000. Well, he wasn't fined £4,000, £3,000 in court costs.
For what?
For his dog out in the beach lawn,
Oh.
persistently.
It certainly is something, if they can catch people in the act,
So they did.
then,
Dogs,
well, yes. Hopefully but yes.
That's not,
Very
that's not.
specific.
We as a
It's
parish
really
council have no power in this matter.
Not specifically. What we need to do is have the dog wardens out here to have a look at it.
Because I think the ladies, what the ladies were saying, and we did have quite an ear bashing this afternoon, they have been going round under their own auspices, clearing up behind other people. And because what also catalysed the whole issue was we had the bin removed. They are now not doing it because they've got nowhere to put it.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, they've got,
Yeah, but you know, they're clearing up other people's, Peter, not their own. They clear up their own, but they've been going around clearing up other people's. And since that bin's gone, allegedly, there is more dog mess appearing, and particularly in Brent Street. And I think they were referring to an incident as the children were going to tadpoles, narrowly avoiding, and allegedly there is somebody, but what they were really saying is if a dog warden appeared, they wouldn't probably find it, so they need to find the right time and who's doing it. And whether we can whisper in the dog, can we whisper in the dog warden's ear to target?
Yes, if there are particular hotspots that we know, then let them know. I mean, certainly, I've mentioned
Unfortunate choice of
So I have specifically mentioned to them about Bodies Lane because that was one that had been,
Bodies Lane is one, and I think the top end of Brent Street.
Right.
what they are doing, Bodies Lane, is actually putting it into bags and putting it throwing it down on the side.
Oh, yes, we've done that.
I've seen
Yeah.
loads like that, and when you go across the Ween, they push it underneath the foot.
Down in the trees.
Yeah, terrible.
It's,
Yeah, is there any, has the Notaros come to the council yet with their idea of another stop, motorway stop?
No, I mean, the Taros are in, there's a new application that's just coming from them down at junction 24, where they want to build on the other side.
Yeah.
That is now active and is in the system, and in effect what they're looking for is potentially building another motorway services
That's right.
and commercial development, and that is a live application.
well, sorry, where is that?
Where is it?
Down at junction 24.
That's Taunton, isn't it?
No.
25 is Taunton,
Bridgewater.
Oh, okay.
so it's North Petherton.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
There's already a service station,
Yes,
but they
it
want to
is.
build on the other
On the
side.
other
That's
side.
on the north side, they want to build one on the south.
Okay, so
And the other issue that came up, I know it's not necessarily you, but it's county's decision and Owen has presumably written to them, is the 40-mile-an-hour speed limit on the A38. Any news?
I can give you, that was the update I was going to do on highways. But yes, I can give you an update. I spoke, well, as you know, we raised it with county, well, we've been raising it with county for a very long time. The last report I gave you was that they had been doing the speed checks and they've been talking to the police. I've now been told that within the next month they will be going out for the public consultation, which will be a 21-day public consultation to basically assess if there is objection to it being introduced as a reduced speed limit to 40 up on the A38. So hopefully, by the time we meet next time, we should have been consulted.
Excellent.
Objections by who?
Anybody?
It could be anybody. I mean, members of the public could object to it. It could be hauliers. It could be anyone who uses the road have the right to object to it if they wish to. And generally, what will happen is if there are no objections, it can go through as a delegated decision. If there are objections, it'll end up going before a county panel for them
Where
to
is that
assess.
from then?
That will be running
From
hopefully
the
Around
railway?
Edith Mead
Edith Mead,
to East Brent.
East Brent, right, okay. Because after that,
Roundabout to roundabout.
you get to, yes, you get to Roxbridge, you have 30.
Yeah.
Then,
And it's
you have,
50
then
on
it
the
goes
way
to
to-
50,
all the way to
and
Chelsea.
then it goes to 40.
Yes.
You have to think ahead.
you're going to keep away.
Just stick at an average speed of between 40 and 50, and it's 90, so don't worry about it.
You mentioned, can I mention potholes again? Because you mentioned this money that seems to be going round to everybody else except us. And we've got loads of them. I'm sick of talking about the ones outside the tennis club, they're getting bigger. And also, Ham Road, be just beyond the houses, the road there is in a dreadful
Yeah.
state.
Raised it.
When we left this cross,
It's a
great,
great big dip on the left.
Yeah.
It's crumbled away. And if you've got a car coming one way, you have to go right down into this dip.
The three that I've mentioned is the Harp Road and the bridge,
Yeah.
motorway bridge, where the road is in poor state.
Yeah.
The one that you mentioned, Brian,
Yeah.
and the tennis court.
And
All those are
can we
going
make a
to-
really big song and dance about it?
Well, there is another one to add to it. And
Yeah.
I know we're jumping into Malcolm's territory,
Yeah.
but as we're talking of highways now, Wick Lane is a disaster as a result of the work that was done to put the solar farm in. If you recall, they put the cabling in the road and they had to effectively they used jacks to jack it through. The edges are going, and you have now got a profile on the road which, if you get it in the wrong direction with a saloon car, you'll hit the sump.
Mm.
So, Malcolm, I'll tell you what we're going to do footpaths, unless you've got anything else, Rob, sorry.
Was I going to comment on Brian's issue? I can't remember what the new name of the house is, but what used to be Chill Park down on Ham Road. I have raised that one, but also it's a common issue that's coming up across a lot of the rural parishes, because one of the problems we've got, county have a defined area of highway that's really maintained as highway. Where you move beyond the highway and sort of the edges start breaking away, they say that's not part of the highway and therefore then won't do normal repairs to it. I've raised with the senior officer now at county, because farm vehicles are getting much bigger, but also because some of the domestic ones are getting bigger, people are being pushed out. They're forcing the roads wider, and it's happening across the whole of the county. So we've asked them to have another look at what they are defining as highway, and whether even if they can't do full sort of tarmac repairs, whether we can be looking at planings being put in to at least shore it up rather than just seeing it breaking away. But it is a common problem.
That's a short-term solution, I think.
I mean, planings will, if once they're down and bedded in, they will be pretty solid for a long period. And of course, people shouldn't necessarily be driving on there, but it does mean, as you're saying, when you're passing in the narrow areas, you've got no other
You have
route
to
to go.
stop.
Yeah.
You have to have
There is
extra-
another thing, is there any truth in the rumour that the Carnival Park is being redeveloped? Incinerator being built? Bristol Road, where all the Carnival cars are built.
There's no plan for any incinerator there that I know of.
Is there some money coming from Hinkley Point?
No, I mean what's happening with incineration at the moment is that the Somerset Waste Partnership is moving away from dumping at Walpole to incineration, but they've got a contract with Avonmouth, so it's going to be going up to the big incinerator up at Avonmouth to be burnt and power generated up there, which works out cheaper for them than paying the landfill tax.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Bob. Peter, anything on footpaths, please?
I think we've done county area. Yeah, I had a phone call from Griff Jones, Tim Griff Jones. He's got a problem with the footpath that goes up over by the old Brent Corner, where we were talking about putting steps in at the top. People he hammers the wire in, secures it, and they keep lifting it and let their dog through. And his sheep are going out, they're lambing now.
Is that at the very top?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he said, is there anything I could do? I said, well, there's not really, but I said, there's a person hoping to buy table lands, and we were hoping that we may be able to do something at the top, but maybe we can go a bit further and put a gate there instead of a stone, because it's very popular, that route. But that's as much as I've got.
Very good. Malcolm, sorry we sort of digressed into highways prematurely, but
Just before we go on, can I just ask, is that a proposition that we want to do a gate there, or because
Well,
otherwise?
I'm suggesting that, I said to Tim that I would suggest it to the council, as to whether we do anything about it.
can we do anything before table lands is?
Well, we need to put some steps in there, really. You can't get out, there's a point to putting the gate there, till it's time to
So is this a job for David Welland?
Something he would do?
It's AX one, isn't it?
Needs to be done all as one, really. Steps and the gate.
Yeah.
Because if you put the gate in and dig the steps, for
Well,
sure
we
it'll be in the
do,
wrong
so
place.
let's have a look at it and to
Yeah, AX 81.
AX81.
Yeah, straight up over alongside the side of the farm.
Okay.
But not by the end, yeah.
If I was to get David to come out and meet you, Peter, would that be appropriate?
Fine,
Okay.
we'll have to take you up there.
Just on another one of footpaths, Colin, you know, with Dave Welland, he was supposed to be giving us a quote, wasn't he, for
Oh yes,
an old
I'm-
footpath?
yes, I met
Yes, he's
him.
not actually given me a quote yet.
Oh, I see. No, I've met him and gone through
Yeah,
what
but
needs
he
to be
hasn't
done.
given me a quote as yet.
Is there any chance of seeing Chris East as to whether they can supply something? So,
We can ask us these, can't we?
well, he's done all the rest.
Because
Say that, but I'm the bike one.
Okay.
I'm saying there are only 50 notes from there.
Okay.
Right, highways, Malcolm?
Yes, I had a phone call from a Mrs. Murray, who is a carer for a Mr. Doble of Northlands, 101 Brent Street, which is up here on the right-hand side going up by the gateway into the field. He has multiple medical problems and he has carers 3 or 4 times per day and emergency call-outs frequently. And she asked whether a white line could be put outside the property. To enable parking for the carers so that they can attend in an emergency.
Would it be a white line or would it be yellow with special authority?
I think you're not going to get yellows. But I mean, if again, when we had this before, we were advised that the police are the ones who need to give the inference to start with to get county to move. So it might be worth raising it with the PCSO.
Got 2 or 3 in the village already.
Yeah.
PCSO, I'll raise it with the Assembly.
Mentions again.
Okay. Yeah, we'll raise it with the PCSO, Malcolm,
Right,
as a conduit to the police who seem to trigger these things.
right. And also, I've noticed that there's heavy metal carrying lorries coming through the village, presumably from East Brent.
Well, you will recall that I have sought the possibility, or floated the possibility, that we ask for a 20-ton weight restriction, apart from access, authorised access.
Yeah, that's what the trouble is, they're going through the steel ruts, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
But they come through from East Brent, don't they?
Yeah,
This was coming through from East Brent to get to the A38.
Come back to the
Then they've got to turn right at the top to cross that central reservation to go down towards the motorway.
When I've seen number of lorries coming out of the Haleys,
Yes.
Yeah.
Haleys, they tend to go back through East Brent.
That's where they should.
There's the designated route they should follow.
If there is issue, if necessary, what we can do is get Owen to write to the company and say we have reported instances
Yes,
of
I understand that by rights they should use
the authorised
roads.
access.
So, do you say the company's called Hades?
Haleys
Hales
Engineering.
Engineering.
And I say East Brent.
Yeah. On whether we do it through directly or do it through your colleague in East Brent.
It won't do any harm for us to write a letter, I guess, at this stage. Just saying that there is a concern.
But on some instances we have noticed lorries leaving.
To be fair, generally Haleys, if they're approached in a friendly way, have tried to be responsive in the past, and at least Brent have had issues.
Yeah. Okay. I'll send it to them politely.
Thank you.
That's what I always do.
That should have the details.
Anything else, Malcolm?
Yeah, that's it.
There is another thing on the highways, the gully sucker went through last week, or this week.
Yeah, no Roddick, so it's
Yeah.
It went
They
through.
went all over travel my West
Did it actually do anything? Did
Yeah,
it?
sometimes
sometimes
done
it
well.
does. Yeah, right.
The lines on the roundabout at Edithmead are getting very faint and they need repainting.
Yes.
So is that in our remit to ask for that to be done?
We can ask.
It's
Yeah.
outside.
They are really very badly worn.
Whether they're taking notice is another matter, but we can certainly ask. Whether they're taking notice is another matter, but we can certainly ask.
I guess. The
When
answer
when
is-
they
The man there that can
down,
feed
it
me.
make a
They're really
difference.
good,
It's just-
yeah.
But people coming out from,
Mm.
say, Highbridge, they're terrible. They stick their nose
So,
right out. You
Village
can't-
Green, John.
Yeah, well, I had a look around. It's a bit wet and messy out there, so it was in reasonable condition for the time of year. However, there's quite a lot of dead branches down, twigs and dead branches, and a lot of leaves which really require cleaning up. It was mentioned in the last report, the chain fence on the left-hand side of the green either needs repair or replacement. And actually looking along that left-hand side, I see that bamboo is starting to grow prolifically on our property. So it's coming underneath the fence, so that really needs to be cut down and sorted out. I was quite surprised looking at the benches. We knew that one of the benches had never got round to being redecorated, but looking at the other ones, they are weathering very badly. They're all weathering badly, and there is one definitely in need of repainting. Having a look at the play equipment, also a supporting arm which goes up and down, paintwork's getting knocked about a bit, and in areas where it goes in to the new play surfaces, there are bare patches, and I would suggest really sometime the paintwork needs patch painting. The equipment appears to be in quite good order, but there is a long list of points raised by GB Sports in the last inspection, so that I just said, well, really, we've got to look at that. The play surfaces were in good order. Quick look around the car park, and that was all right. The toilet block is closed for refurbishment, so I have not been inside.
Thank you. I think I've got to do it next.
On these GB sports items, I mean, I guess it's going to be appropriate to get them to either GB Sports or somebody else
Give us a
to
quote.
come and give us a quote for all those bits that they're doing. I mean, GB Sports is probably the first port of call because they've actually reported it.
Yeah.
So, presumably that's a spring job, isn't it? Really, I guess?
But there were quite a lot of points, like lifting up mats and relaying them and filling in dips on the day. By the time we look at it, there's quite a lot of work which
Yeah.
needs doing.
Yeah.
But they've been picking up the items that need painting because it's the last 2 inches above the new surfaces unpainted.
And the
I mean, let's be honest, why can't we get them to give us an itemised costing? And then if necessary, we can then pick it off one at a time.
Yeah.
Or,
It'd be nice to get someone for less.
Should we ask them to give us a...
I don't know whether there's anybody else that could do it, but as a start, if we can, let's get going.
The question is finding people, it's quite a specialist area, this, isn't it? There aren't that many people around. I mean, there's a company over at Sherborne that we used originally when they did that painting job. They weren't that good, were they? So I think maybe GB Sports perhaps to ask them to give us a quote.
They're
They
starting,
consider it.
aren't they?
But if they give us an itemised one
Yeah.
against each of the items that they raised.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
okay. So we've gone through GB Sports, we've had a copy of that. Nothing on flood mitigation, I guess, Peter?
No,
Parish surgery and police matters. Well, we had no presence of the police or...
We had Kim and the 2 ladies from Manor Ride, it wasn't Manor Ride, East Ride.
Police right, yes, sorry.
Yeah, I mean the main issues there were the dog bin issue. Also they raised the issue of the affordable housing at A38 in Brent Street again. Speeding they picked up on.
Parking in the village.
Just the same matters as have been raised previously really, but there was nothing specifically new that came out of it.
Speeding was raised again by this lady
Yes.
this evening, and as I've said many times before, I think the only way you're going to stop it is put in speed humps. I know they're unpopular and they'll protest, but if you drive properly at the right speed, it won't damage your
I
precious
would
car.
suggest not speed humps per se, but you could get
You get those, as I mentioned,
low-level rumble strips,
yeah,
which
or,
you get just before roundabouts.
yeah,
or
or
junctions.
that's right, or things as I said before that you see at Asda in their car park there. They wouldn't. I shouldn't think they would cost a lot.
But I'm not sure who funds that.
I mean, we could be talking about this again in 20 years' time.
Oh, yes.
We've been
Those ones are still
30 years already.
The other thing, just going back onto the Lucy and Leslie Royal issue about the dog bins, we did suggest that perhaps at some point we will have a review of the dog bins and general bins around the village to make sure we're happy about the locations of them. And that's something I'm sure we're prepared to undertake, a sort of survey of where we've got them all situated,
Yes.
because we may need to add one here or there.
no, sorry, the lady was complaining.
Just ask, in terms of the speeding, what is the position with the SID at the moment? I mean, as you say, it got hit. It was sort of semi-functioning, but I haven't seen it up for quite some time. So is it now totally non-operational?
It is up to that, I think.
Richard wrote to myself, Owen, copy to you, I believe, and he said, had the council lost interest in SID? And I think the answer is no, but we have in the budget a replacement allowance, and I think we need to think hard and seriously about how we use the SID going forward once that new unit was available, because I think if we have the data from it, it helps your hand when talking to the police to say, we have these instances of speeding and there's X%, all the rest of it. So hard statistics are helpful.
But the only question was, I know post it getting bashed, we were told it may not be collecting data, but it was going up and it was flashing at people when it was doing speed, and that, as I say, that stopped.
That's pretty terrible.
So is it that it now doesn't work, or just that we're not now putting it up?
I don't think anybody really knows, is the honest truth.
I think Richard is getting a bit blasé with it. I'm not sure.
if we could check, that would be useful at least at the start. But
I think I just suggested last time, we could ask Richard if he could take trouble to come along to one of our meetings and just have a chat through with us what he thinks we need to do. Do you think that would be appropriate?
If we were to buy a replacement, what's to say that it won't be hit again?
Well, there is that.
Accidentally on purpose.
Well, there is that, but on the other hand,
Because it's likely.
I think the police have said to us, and others, that if you've got supporting evidence, you're going to get your action, and we believe we have a speeding problem. But we can say we have a speeding problem, here are the facts. John?
We've moved on quite some time since we bought the last SID. Do we know if there are any improvements in SID design, management, downloading, and this, that, and the other? And so we really, in case we want to get some quotes in.
Well, we've got a budget figure.
Yeah, well,
Next year's
we
budget.
need to look at
Explore.
possible SID designs.
Malcolm?
In Mark, the Causeway is a very tempting place to accelerate on. A lot of people keep to the 30-mile-an-hour limit, and one of the things that tends to discourage people is at regular intervals throughout that road, they've got dummies with yellow jackets on and a sign saying slow down. It might be psychological, but it seems to help.
They also have a regular visit by the camera.
Speed camera, yes.
And a lot
That's
of
the
people
one
get
thing
caught.
that I'm not sure we have, because I know when I had a go at Pete Wills 4 years ago about it, he said he would try and get the county speed unit to come to be, Brent Knoll to be included on their visitations. I don't know whether it's ever happened.
We have our own speed detector device, which is held by Roger.
But they can't prosecute.
Well, it's not that it can't prosecute, we don't even use it, and that's because people won't come forward to be trained in the use of the equipment.
Yeah. Now, there was an issue with that, because I offered to, when I first moved into the village, I said I'd be happy to do it. It took 18 months for the police to get round to saying, oh, we could run a training course for you. And by that time I had other commitments. So it's not as though, if we had 10 volunteers now, they have to go through this police training.
Whenever anybody raises, and I do get emails occasionally of people on speeding is obviously an issue that comes up, I always make the point on the end of it that we're always looking for people to assist Roger and his team with the speed watch, but I never get anybody who says, okay, yeah, can you tell me where I need to get more information? So, I do try on every occasion to drop it into email.
We don't, I don't think, I'm not sure actually, are we allowed to have feedback from Roger? Because he sends reports into the police, and I'm not sure whether that's confidential.
We had their reports before.
Yeah.
did.
Not specific number plates, but numbers.
It's the numbers more than anything, isn't it? Instances.
We did it at one of the parish meetings, I think, was it last year or the previous year?
He did, but not as a routine.
No,
Every
it
month.
needs to be a routine thing.
The trouble is, with all due respect to him, I suspect, is they do it at a time when the speeding's not happy.
The other thing, Chairman, in terms of the SID going forward, when we bought ours, we were one of the first parishes to buy it. Since then, a number of other parishes around us have followed the lead. And it would be worth certainly sending out East Brent and East Hunsbury, who were both bought SIDs, because they went for different ones. I mean, I know the East Brent one managed to do recording in both directions at the same time, whereas ours only does one direction. So there have been movements in the technology, and they're smaller units than ours was, because ours was quite a big chunky thing. And I think we've learned, certainly Brian, from where it was put, where it got hit, we wouldn't put it there. I mean, it was partially obscured by a hedge.
Yeah, it was more or less on the road.
Yes, so I think lessons were learned on that front.
But when you get people going soaring down the posts with cameras in, that's the sort of attitude you've got to find. It happened at the bottom of Shoot Show years ago.
They did. And somebody knocked it
Except for the one at
down.
Rooksbury, didn't they?
The other thing I do think that
Somebody went in
we've got
with
great
a big
reliability
digger
on
and not to do
Richardson's,
that.
whereas perhaps we shouldn't have quite as much reliability on one person.
Yeah.
I think that, I think he has felt the strain on occasions. He's the only one doing it.
It would be nice if we had another volunteer, if we could ever find one.
Well,
Out with the council.
when he went on holiday,
I know you did it very
I was
kindly.
quite happy to do it, but he seemed to be wanting to take charge of it and enjoyed it. But I think as the meetings identified, these machines have moved on, and we really probably, I don't know whether we do it or whether Richard could be asked to do it, whether he would like to investigate the replacement and then come along and tell us what he feels and make some suggestions. At least we're moving it along, unless someone takes it on here to find out more.
Shall I have a word with Richard and ask him if he would be prepared to do that? Is that the first stage?
I think so, because he is interested, and I'm sure he would come up with an alternative.
And certainly ever since we've had it, we've had the issue of the downloading the data and being able to manipulate the data. Well, certainly from what I've seen at East Brent, they've got the package of the software that does it, and they push all these whizzy graphs and things that actually are easy to understand rather than just reams and reams of figures. So,
Well, as I said, historically, I've looked at the data and it's not beyond a wit to do it, even without the software. But it's just getting the data, the raw data.
The whole thing needs a revisit.
Okay. I mean, the sad thing on the police issue, which links into the speeding, is, allegedly we should see a PCSO, but we don't do it.
It's not for want of trying.
I know.
We've tried, to get there.
While we're talking about the PCSO, did you contact the PCSO about that van that was parked? And did she come? Do you know? She did.
I think so.
Because it was removed.
Yeah, I think she dealt with it.
She did.
Yeah.
Good.
So, Owen, any current matters that you'd like to talk about?
Not really. You've got my election rules for 2019. You understand all that document. So it's ready for page to page.
Word perfect.
No capital letters.
No.
That's it really. There's nothing else that I really wanted to raise really. There's been bits of correspondence going back and forth from a certain person, but apart from that.
When can we apply for application forms?
Well, apparently Richard and I are going on a thing on March the 7th, which is a Sedgemoor training to tell us a bit more about the process and how we're going to move it forward. And apparently at that meeting, so Bob tells me, we're going to get, I'm going to be given a pack of nomination forms.
Right.
And then obviously it's just a question of getting them the right dates
Yes.
to comply with the right to...
And we get the we numbers from you, do we?
Yeah, I've got those on the
Yeah.
electoral roll, so that's not a problem.
Right.
So, yeah.
So what you are saying, I suspect, is if you wish to stand, you can get your nomination paper through Owen.
Yes.
That's it. Is that right?
Yes, right. Basically, it'll be sometime, I think it's actually around about the sort of 3rd or 4th week in April when nominations have to go in. I'm not entirely sure, I haven't got the date in front of me, but it's that sort of time. We're talking about April, latter part of,
You will recall that there was a suitable thing put in Brent Knoll News.
Yeah.
Mm.
We've been inundated.
We've been inundated, allegedly.
There is a lady who wrote to me asking for some information, and I said to her she'd like to give me a call, but I'll try and answer any questions she has. Well, she hasn't rung me yet, that was a week ago.
I did hear there were 2 people who were interested in it.
There are a couple, I think there's sort of 2 or 3 interested parties. I don't think it'll be a deluge, mind you, but there'll be 2 or 3.
Really?
I thought to take over.
Chairman, just one thing, just to follow up on what Owen said. I mean, even if the forms do come to Owen, ultimately it sits with individuals to make sure they get the forms filled in and get them in.
Yeah.
I mentioned to Owen before that Sedgemoor has had an instance in one area where candidates wanted to give their forms to the clerk to put them in. And unfortunately, the clerk was then ill just before they were due to be in, and none of the forms got put in, so there weren't enough candidates for that particular election. So it's sent to people all the time. Ultimately, it's your responsibility to get the forms, get them filled in, and get them submitted. Otherwise, you can miss out by not your own fault if you don't take responsibility for it.
Okay.
Finance matters,
Yeah, by the way, there's no correspondence apart from the item from George.
which I think is on the agenda, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the agenda anyway, so we don't need to
No,
discuss
we
that
don't
really.
talk about it now.
So that's fine. Yeah, on finance, very actually quite small this month. No Jason Mayo, just GB Sports salary and tax. There's one repeat item on there. Decision power, you'll probably recall we had that last month. There were 3 cheques last month that unfortunately didn't get signed for some reason. And I take the blame entirely for that, because when I went to photocopy them, as I always do, I hadn't looked on them to make sure that they were actually signed. And although I gave the pile, I can't remember who signed them last month.
I signed it.
Yeah, well, whoever signed missed. There was a couple that obviously locked in underneath
Oh, right.
and didn't get signed.
Right.
So there were three payments. One was for Dave Wellen, one was for Jason Mayo, and the other one was for Decision Power, the website management. Fortunately, the other 2 were resolved because they went round to councils and had them signed off. But unfortunately, Dave wasn't able to do that website because he'd already had the cheque withdrawn from the bank. So you'll see on there it's been presented again. So the other one will be cancelled, and this one will be put forward at £421.14.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Grant decisions, do we have to make a decision on it tonight?
No, although to be honest with you, we're coming near the end of the financial year, and if we're going to get it in within this financial year, so
Is that the fire alarm? Do we have to evacuate?
Yeah, of course.
you ought to,